very good. Yeah, with my son's Tibetan improvement, I use this one for you.
I want, and this one?
Yeah, I have this one too, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give
Thank
it
you.
to Anthony.
Absolutely.
To,
Absolutely.
Drew. You can use this. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
그게
Okay.
밴쿠버를 이 캐나다 밴쿠버를 봐. 근데 대한민국 주생만이 저도 제가 봐도 이게 숨기시고요. 이제 제가 저도 제가 참은
I think Drew and,
시행한다고 듣는지
Yeah, probably.
이제 제 손을
It's live now, so everything's on mic.
이게 나올지 더 제가 봐도 대서 오늘 제주도 밴쿠버 캐나다에 숨기셔야지. So for month and a half, I may get a little bit late for month and a half because I'm also I'm translating Vancouver starting from 5 to 6:30. So it doesn't end at 6:30, so it lingers and it's 6:45.
All right.
So then I had to rush here.
don't rush. It's
Yeah.
really- No rush.
Yeah.
Damn
So the Saturday, I have 3 translations. Saturdays, for a month and a half. So
Okay.
5,
You're a busy man.
5 to 6:30, and then over here, 7 to, then again I have Edmonton tonight.
Too busy.
Yeah, so I'll be a little bit late, but not more than 5. Until lunch.
Okay.
재밌는데 되네요. 깨시 까먹었어. 제일 이래나 지금 뒤로 와. 죄송합니다.
Thus I have heard, at one time the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of Vulture Peak Mountain, the great gathering of monks and the great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the samadhi of the many aspects of phenomena called profound appearance. At the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, saw the 5 skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, "How should a son of lineage train who wishes to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom?" Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva answered the Venerable Shariputra with these words. Shariputra, those men and women of the lineage who wish to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look at it like this. The 5 skandhas should be seen purely in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, and having no characteristics, they are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure, they neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no phenomena. There is no quality of sight and so on until no quality of mind and no quality of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance and so on up to no old age and death and no exhaustion of old age and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no ending, and no path. No wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide by means of the profound perfection of wisdom. And since their minds have no obscurations, they have no fear. Transcending falsity, they attain nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the 3 times have relied upon the perfection of wisdom and have become true and complete Buddhas of unsurpassable, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the profound perfection of wisdom, the mantra of insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for it is not deceptive. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Teata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisattva. Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and said to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, noble Avalokiteshvara, that he had spoken well. Well done, O son of the lineage, it is so. O son of the lineage, since it is just so, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Sharadvatiputra, and noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, and the entire gathering, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoice and praise the words of the Blessed One. Lama dang dang ko
Jete Jame Yama Jadelo Kangelo Dwe Dinite Nida Namdara Saravi Kene Dungo Jeje Zich Nije Tuga Lebante Kada Sebi Tere Mari Medo Dume Jizebe Rozo Gula Pajir Tati Yena Tutu Yang Des Chelo Nemo Nino Neje Chaglo Loteji Mare Mize Dunye Yu Chenye Junde Rajena Dene Tajin Sajyo Tas Yede Ludo Jase Tuye Chöda Chöda Chönin Jete Lalo Minzen Jambe Nyanad Arabazanadi 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 Cheje Chera Vizeti Lalo Temu Mbara Parani Kada Tenju Julu Tobayi Lodru Bobe Nama Sedu
Short Mandala offering. Saji Bhuti.
Roje Medona Rira Nide Nevad Sanje Jindu Minde Pravaye Rogue Nanda Jina Jebarajo Nambo Jena Je Chugu Kala Jese Chedene Jada Zambi Dujen Zemala Zaje Chuje Jaba Vatu So Rena Mandala Gane Ataya Soje Tonala Janju Bardu Dani Jasochi Dagi Chuje Jibe Sonati Rala Benjir Sanje Rubajo Veda Soje Tonala Janju Bardu Dani Jasochi Dagi Chuje Jibe Sonati Rala Benjir Sanje Rubajo Chela Soje Jonama Janju Bardu Dani Jasochi Dagi Chuje Jibe Sonati Rala Benjir Sanje Rubajo当初唱的双给唱起呢，你那道理说话的面当归了说几遍，到了四比龙见呢，愿望几遍不能有事，他的嘛，你的这个说清楚才能够，他的你嘛就学呢，你那道理说话的面当归了说几遍，到了四比龙见呢，愿望几遍不能有事。但那个做干些个呢，那绿松啊之类的，咱们就当松打把白瓦，对不那里那绿冬啊，绿松啊，绿打把绿白瓦，跟那些个龙角当啊，龙角松啊，龙角打把龙角白瓦， tena ye geza tawa, geza suma, geza tawa, geza pewa, tena yubi nani kandere, ane lu suma kato je, tena da lu suma te, de soso lu de uri suma le es, me da kula swa je beza suma, ne lu tsuya ga che do, ane me teya tanga, ane to lo tsuya bo kaya, ta di kene rangi je shio do, che do me da kula swa je beza, ta diwa rapa ni che wayna, ane lu 야버지 소리 제거래 르 대단 야버지 내 도와 배서 제거래 르 대단 내가 쳐도 근데 나와서이나 저도를 맨때네 근데 나사 아바 다지만 제거래 근데 도로 나시 다음에 거래 도로 야고요래 세주로다 무슨 나시 다음에 거래 도로 요마구나 근데 집에 잡아 보아서 요도와 제산면에 요구를 되는데 매다 거라서 제베스 어디 그 시골에서 류순구에서 좋아하는 류인데 있더니 저희 친구 시골에 브로트고 유순상 대레이 제는 무슨 류순구에서 이제 도서래 무슨 류인데 있더니 가를 브로트고나 다 남비 쇼는 시와이나 그러는데 남비 쇼는 정말 남이 그렇게 하는 시와이나 생대가 하는 데니 어느 산주고 맞도 그래서 그러다 류인데 왜 다중 조조 참여는 아직 가능되게 맞아 가고 되게 되게 소가 그래 저이나 근데 제일 좀 보고 봐 니들이 지금 다가라는 데니 사주고 가져야는 되게 고 뭐도 제도야 되다 네가 되게 되지를 봐 제가 되네 이제 된대로 이제 아니 왜 자와 친구래 되네 이제 털어마다 되면 마다 근데 되어가 제월에서 어떻게 전에다 안을 손고야 뭐유 되지를 때니 아니 뮤지컬 왜 기초를 토스 많이 받아.
So we'll read here from this verse 13. Verse 13 where it says, this is protecting the body by means of medicine, clothes, and so on. But if it is done to indulge your own craving, it is a downfall induced by reactivity. So, as earlier in the verse 4, where it talks about giving away all sentient beings, your body, your position, your good gain in the past, present, and the future, in protecting, purifying, and enhancing this. So, in this, the verse 13, it talks about how to protect our body. It's a protecting our body. And it similarly it will go the next we will be discussing on protecting our resources, protecting our mirrors or the good gains and so forth. But at the moment we are in this verse, it actually talks about how to protect our body and what is the purpose of protecting our body. That is what it's talking about here in verse 13. So it's clearly mentioned that in order to we need to protect our body by means of medicine, clothes, and so on, right? So now we all know that when we are not feeling well, if you feel discomfort in the body or some kind of experiencing of sickness, the thought that will come into enter into our mind is need to do something. Probably look for medicine or to approach one's physician and so on. So that what he's talking about here, when one should not really neglect when one is experiencing some kind of sickness, some kind of discomfort within one's body. Not very much based on self-grasping, but to protect my body. This is the sense that we should have, the motivation that we should have. So Uh, so so then it says, it's clearly mentioned that if it is done by, clothing is medicines to protect one's body, but if it is done to indulge your own craving, then it is downfalls induced by the activity.
You-
And then also, the
Is protecting, could you also say preserving? I'm trying to think of the Tibetan, is it preserving? Could you use the word preserving?
no, it's protecting.
Okay,
Just protecting.
okay, yeah, no, I just
Yeah,
wanted to make
protecting,
sure. Okay, thank you.
So, wait a minute. Yeah,
Sorry.
quick part, yes. Oh, listen, oh, I got it.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay, no problem. It's okay. Oh, so now, the reason why we are protecting our body, it's not just we were very much attached to one's body and we don't want to go through illness and so forth. But we have all kind of mundane activities that is to be done by ourselves. And this is not the purpose that we are protecting our body because I have to do this, I have to do that, and this. But the reason why why it says to protect one's body here is the important to protect one's body is having obtained this precious human body. We have a great potential of achieving great things. We're able to make this human body purposeful and meaningful by protecting this body. And that is the reason why we need to protect our body. It's not just something that I have to do my, daily chores and I have to do this and that and I have all kind of mundane activities that is lined to be followed up and so forth. Rather, our very purpose of protecting is to make it meaningful and be purposeful. Think about the life that we have right now. Have we ever thought of protecting one's body to make this human life meaningful or purposeful? If we were tried to think, we might have thought for a little bit, but most of the time, when we experience some sickness and discomforts in one's body, why I'm sick, and then this based on grasping at I and self, we protect our body. That is what we do normally. But here in the Bodhisattva's practice, protecting one's body is to protecting one's body, to maintaining one's good health, is to make this life meaningful and purposeful. We can achieve great thing in this life, which is the state of enlightenment, it says. According to the Vajrayana, it says, even within the one lifetime, within the brief lifetime, having obtained this such a freedom and leisure body of human being, be able to gain state of enlightenment within the brief lifetime. It says, human beings with the human being endowed with the leisure and fortune, with six constituents, there is a possibility of gaining state of enlightenment within brief lifetime, without engaging in the practice of prolonging one's body, such as in Tibetan, which is the Seijingzi, which means prolonging. There's a practice that prolongs one's life for infinite lifetime to gain state of enlightenment. We don't have to do this kind of practice if one is able to make this human body purposeful and meaningful by following the practice of Vajrayana, so that you can gain a state of enlightenment within this lifetime. So therefore, look at one's body, human body, as a very precious, and it has a great potential of achieving not only a temporary attainments, but also ultimate state of enlightenment.
tene yu dan de chanju se bi choba dan de yu mi kare ya rola pe je sanju duwa sho asa na je rola senje la pe bi chato rola senje na sanju ka yu ge tem go to ya chada rani sanju ko bomu de je ye sambe tene ki ene kono senje wa de ne de je ge lu yi mai so ta ande mo se de te sunjo shi bi che ga anche ci vuole Gesù tu su Israele.
And also we always were very familiar with the refuge formula or the verse of taking refuge in spiritual and generating bodhicitta, which says, may I gain state of enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings, right? We talked about that. And we prayed it from the depth of one's heart. And whenever we engage in certain practices, we always find this in the very beginning of the prayers. So this is what it talks about here. It's parallel to this. The very refuge formula and taking refuge in spirituals and generating bodhicitta is parallel to this verse 13.
마도 다라스비 롱게는 뉴모티브 동안 유르스. 다들이 도바지니 소소를 야시베지 차예지니 세바세야 되다. 인유라 그냥 제가 세바세 뉴모들의 차바마 시바. 제가 다라스비 롱게나 다라야 소소를 차니 시행처도 많이 말하니 류레지 라니 차바지니 아니 시베지 가게 자와시거든요. 매사도 그거라서 되게 아니 매다 그래서 롱게바이나 대 ene nyuma leba yeso san nyuma chebe ene tumanju lesa sambo ta janju se domba ene yingi ne janju se to joje asa tene tuma kuya ta ente ne ri dala se no cheba ina ante mo pare jingi rol ma no so wa tene cheche re so yisa.
And it says, but if it is done to indulge your own craving, it is a downfall in this very activity. So, so here now, the protection that you are seeking for your body should not be influenced by our craving for our body positions and so on. Because if one's the protection is actually influenced by this craving, then this will become the downfalls, particularly individuals who have taken the bodhisattva's vow, that you actually, transgressing the root vows of the bodhisattvas, and which will lead oneself to the rebirth in the lower realms.
다 손들 때 말로도 나에 가르쳐야다. 다 말로도 칼라사야레 어다 자동야레 돌아고야레 선나나버로 저대인데 안에 말로도 이냐 고만들레지도 하네. 나무에도 기지벌에 서서 다대체를 가요라이가 간도 제도기야. 이제는 팬데지 루이 루토 모함바 루토 이마죠. 근데 이제는 팬데 루토 제도는 류에 네 대보지 네 토고도 요즘 뭐 초고도 네 인중에 집에 류소야 제가 칼라사야 있는다 자동화 있는다 돌아가 있는다 어디다 놓치고 단지 이행도 이행을 팬도가지고 하쇼 단다 가도 이행을 팬도가 제도한테 제가 뭐 있는 대치보지 루토가 이마쇼스니 어디내지 고노타네 어느 소리 제도 놓아줘야 있는데 야고여서
So for us, we all need our meals and time. We all need sufficient clothing, shelters, and so forth. And all of this are actually is protecting our body, the protection of our body, our foods and, waters, clothing, and so forth. But now we, as a follower of the practice of Bodhisattva, we should not merely use those resources just to protect one's body, but rather one's very purpose of protecting one's body is to practice Dharma. And the practicing Dharma is to benefit other sentient beings.
다들 마음으로 영어집에 또 아주 내제 달아 담았자 단계라는 소리자 대대로베시 데리 대로 주스마 가스 단대 로주스마 가도래 다 남이물 그들 르스마지 다들 로주스마 세대 당도 르다 로주 계사여 같은 로주스마 세대 내제 달아 담았자 단계라는 소리자 leche dala tsambar chaya se libar jeba se libar se de mo so yapo se ko wa jeba se de peje ta ma jire leche dala tsambar chaya ta so so le ya ba ge sonjo je sha yo da lo je ka de yo ina ta so ane so ba ta yo ju sun mo le yes ane so so le yo de ya yo ju sun je je wo le sun ga na ane yin che ba je la ma ta ji bo do ane ka ju mi na sha yo ma le yes 다비는 알아서를 소소 소저 제시해주거든요. 돌아있는다, 칼라사에 돌아있는다, 무있는다, 가리있는 소소를 완대하다 소소 소저 제시해주고 못해서 아니 옆에 숨좀 제거래서 아니 뭐네 방에 되는 특별서 그래 되다 대봐 당사 많아 가지고 안 그새 제래야 팬도 유명이 지금 다 팬도 유명인데 내가 이제 대체 그 통해서 그래 단 지금 대체도 가르쳐 주면 개화가 표현으로 개화를 때 개화 개발을 때니 지금 대체도 표현으로 제가 라니 지금 대체 되는 이미 차네 지금 대체 표현에게 표현도가 자와 되게 거래야 하는 소속 소녀 지금 뭐가 땅도 지어래서 소속 문제가 눈에 전쟁이 자와 되게 거래야 하는 소속 소녀 지금 뭐가 땅주가 말해서 제가 소속에 링닝 이와 체는 그 여보지 다지시 여보지 나니 소속에 소녀제 여보지 순죄제네 근데 디바다 마디와 아니베 디바다 마디와 저 디바세야데 자상 디바세야데 디브 동행 편지기 자와지네 디바스라고 해요 어디네 이제 대대지기 쳐도 마당와 송구야당 아니 기회 제도 주위 대내기 자와 대내지 서로 대내지를 나도가 지어래서 그러네 근데 소속 따지야 보지니 친구야 보지니 아니 리비 차지를 나도가 지어래서
So the next verse, the verse 14, what it says, for someone who does the right thing, following the training precepts, knowing in everything how much is enough, it is not difficult to protect position. So now this verse talks about protecting one's position, right? It is verse 4, where it says body, position, good gain, which is the merits, talks about the merits, past, present, and future. So now here, well, when we talk about here protecting one's positions, one should not be misunderstood for this protecting position is for being stinginess. This is not what we are talking about here. One should not be stingy. That is, in fact, cause of transgression of one's bodhisattva's vow, being stingy. In other words, miser or the miserliness. So, the reason why what it says is protecting one's position or one's resources is by analyzing carefully, making sure that your positions and your resources you're making a good use of it, making good use of it in what is meant by making good use of one's position is one's resources is to by using one's resources. If you know that by using certain way of your position that accumulates merits or the virtue, if it become a virtuous act, then one should use that one's position and one's resources. So that one can accumulate merits and benefit others. And one should not use one's positions and one's resources that is driven by a negative thoughts and emotions. One should not utilize and one should not use one's position induced by, in other words, bad motivations or intentions. If one do so, then this becomes a negativities or negative deeds, which will give rise to unhappiness in this life or in the future life. So this is what is meant by protecting one's resources and one's positions. One should understand, one should know when should one use and for what purpose one should be using one's position and one's resources. Not using recklessly, not giving away someone who may commit crime or who may do something that is bad for others, but rather one should, the protecting one's wealth or one's position here mainly talks about analyze very carefully and make a good use of it. Make a good use. What is meant by making a good use of one's position is by using one's resources and one's position that one is accumulating merits. One should know that. And then this is what is meant by protecting one's positions. As I mentioned earlier, that protecting one's position or one's resources is not something that one is just accumulating merits and not giving away or not doing anything with that or just be attached to that and keeping it with us at all time. That's not what we mean to say about protecting one's position and resources here.
레제 달라 탐제라요 최르자스 탐제라요 최르자스 제가 다소소 리에데 노주 사신에 소소 노주 아이나다 시행 노주 조아이나다 다소데 최르 바지 돈이야 보여서 다 최르 바지야데 소소가 사신에 제가 이제 수리지 노주 바이나야 아니 노주 베카리아 로주에 지디 야보시라 매가지 정보시라 매가지 조보를 시설에 된다다 아니 노노도 지게 초바지나 안데 지금 초바지 근데 지금 초바 이버지라 안들이야 지금 망보다 상보들의 지금 초바지 버지 근데 지금 그사데 와이나 안데 무루아레서 그러잖아 소소 사신을 때 라지게 버지 담에 가야 노노지게 초바이나 되게 되었지. 매발로지네 되게 다 되게 되게 지금 초바이 받지. 근데 지금 주문에서 되게 지금 되게 이거 가기라 다들 초바이 받지니 상보도 먹고 싶지. 하는 거서 되는 왔는데 하는 거 받는 거야 말해서. 저를 지금 해서.
So there's the third line of the verse 14 where it says, knowing in everything how much is enough. That merely talks about be contented by what we have. And whatever the resources or the position that we may have, one should be contented by that. And one should not have an excessive desire or aspiration for having more positions, more wealth, and so on. But rather, whatever the resources or the position that one may own or one may have, one should be contented by that position and not looking for a more out of attachment and desire.
제가 다 로제 달아 담아요. 단절에 쓰자. 세트니까 봐. 돈으로 되는 소소게 소녀제를 좀 못해서 근데 따로 다다는 시류야 버지네. 근데 제가 제가 하는 분이 바로 라지를 못 주게 그러네. 근데 초시 버지는 최를 버지 나도 제어해서 되죠.
So in brief, this the verse 4 talks about whatever the belongings of positions or the resources that one may have, one should make good use of it, making sure that one is using for the purpose of accumulating merits. And whatever the position that one may have, one should be contented by that position, position or the resources, whatever the resources that one may have.
So, okay. In that's a little confusing to me. Yeah, so it's saying that because you are satisfied or because you know how much is enough, you don't have excess. And so the very line, it is not difficult to protect possessions, is because you don't have excess, you just have what you use. Is that what I'm understanding?
So let me read this Turkish law, okay? The Quran, the Teochi, and the Sigan Tamaji, and the Sikja, the Sigan Tamaji to what? The Longe Sumika said, the Longe Sumika said, Karina said,
로제 소모가제는 레제다나 상바제 단절에 쓰리자스 대입스간이 그 순간 아시지 소소 라들제도 이나 근데 장주스 비글라고 현대 대나니 때문에 로제 소모한테 끌려가게 말해서
So if one is able to follow the explanation that we have given in the first 3 lines of the verse 14,
Right.
then it is not difficult to protect one's position. That is what it meant.
Oh, yeah, because you don't have excess thoughts or
that's it,
possessions or anything. Right, okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
로제 소모제는 로제 배제치 만하면 괜찮아 말해서 로제 배제다면 그래 디바다 말이와 디비 자와다 자와 네바다 말이와
When
근데 자와 상보다는 되게 좋더라 아 제당 근데 라제에 땅비가 있는 로지비가 있는 근데 초시 버지 처리를 받아서 제도나 근데 로제 소모제야 돼 그래 그렇게 말해서
when speaking about again here protecting one's wealth, it's not something that we should not make use of one's positions and one's resources. Rather, it is one should use one's resources for the good purpose. That is what it means. And then whatever that one has, the belongings or position or resources that one may have, one should be contented by that. Be contented. If one is able to do that, then it is not difficult to protect one's position. That's what it means.
So contented, satisfied can be, you're satisfied or you're contented, or is there any difference in those 2 words?
초시보다 대박선생님이 개박하려고 했어요.
Because the question comes, you could be contented, but you're not satisfied.
I'm not sure I
I
understand.
don't know.
Well, you get what you get, so you're content with that,
No.
but you want more, so you're not satisfied. So
you're not contented either then.
Pēnā ndibā tsima dhir
Because you
sāmbō,
still want more, so you're not contented,
pēnā ndibā tsima dhiyā
Okay.
dhiyā
right?
no, I think in my life, you just accept what you get, right?
Yeah.
So you're content with that. But
If you need more, then you're not contented.
what if
What's
what-
meaning of content? I mean, contented, just tell me.
content?
Yeah. Because
I'm trying to figure it, I'm trying to understand the
is
sense.
there a different quality?
Okay,
Maybe I would like to ask
yes, let's,
as Andrew, because
Let me-
I like his English.
What's the meaning of contented?
well, can you be content without being satisfied? Like, if you're, if you're starving and somebody gives you beans.
You're on the top of the mountain and you're not falling off, then you're contented but you don't have anything. If you're on the top of a mountain.
What?
dhiyā.
No, I'm really confused.
근데 대법관보다 대법관보다 이제 초시적인
It's okay.
채워시 내서도 거기 이제는 언제나 기사지 쏘는.
pēnā 무슨 ndibā tsima dhiyā,
No, I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand.
ndibā tsima dhiyā sāmbō sōsō kāng ndibā dhiyā yidō mānta bachī. Pēnā sōsō chōgā lī tō dhiyā, anī bē kāla dhiyā sōsō ndibā dhiyā chōgā jāsī yōchī, rāwa dhiyā dhāna ndibā tsima jāsī dhiyā yōgā. Ndibā tsima sā pētā dhiyā na. chōshī bā sā dhiyā, chōgā shī bī tō dhiyā kāla jāsī mārā dhiyā jī, tō sā 가르쳐 그래. 또 시골 또 돼도 또 와서 나 자서 주는 내지마다 가는 말아야 안 되는 거다. 시골 또 돼도 또 자서 나는 내가 지라면 제가 다른 분들 근데 지금 되게래서 그 시골에 자는 데가 측면이 있네요. 근데 지금 난 되게 말하나야 돼. 줄어면도 사. 좌시 봐줘라. 되게
So
좌시.
there's this, in Tibetan we have a slight difference between the two.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to
There's
get
a
to.
slight difference because in the Chosheva it's a contented.
It means you're not falling apart.
What?
Contented means con is the senses together, and it comes from tenere, to hold.
Yeah.
So when you're contented, you're basically not coming apart. You're a whole
Okay,
individual.
right.
That's right.
You don't need anything from the outside. You don't need anything from the inside.
Right. So in Tibetan,
So
what's the difference?
We have a little different in here now. When someone who is very contented, the person who is very contented, and if someone gives you, if you're very hungry, in other words,
Right,
and someone offers you
a can of
a little
rice.
bit of food,
Right,
and you're not really,
Full.
full by that food, but you are so contented person that you're contented by that. But that means the satisfaction is not there a little bit, but you're contented.
right.
That's what this is.
So mentally, can that be like mentally you get a little bit of wisdom, but
Yeah, it's entirely depends on it's someone the way you think. If you are very contented and even if someone gives you a piece of bread, you appreciate that and you're
Right.
contented,
okay,
and you're not just give me a little more. So you're not gonna say that if you're contented.
right, right.
Then- But piece of bread, it's not enough for sure. It's not gonna
But
overcome your hunger.
as a spirit, you're content because the person has shared.
Yeah, you're contented.
Right.
That's content, but you
Okay.
still are not. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a
No,
slight
no.
difference. Yeah,
So is this where he goes?
Yeah.
Slap.
that's right.
We borrowed it from Latin, and therefore it doesn't really have the same meaning as it has originally.
I think we're sort of picking at nits a bit here though, because the two words can be used as synonyms. Now, it somewhat depends on context, but you can use them
Oh,
as
that's right,
synonyms.
that's right.
I mean,
That's right.
in if you think about the Rolling Stones song, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, that's about someone who's craving more and more and more. All right, so they're not satisfied because they want more.
Okay, all right.
They're not going to be content either because they're going to be striving for more and more. They're somewhat, to some extent, they are synonyms. I mean, you can pick at nits about what the context in which they're used.
I think it's very
but I
depends
think
on the
that
context,
basically
yeah.
they mean the same thing.
That's right.
In English, I understand, but I'm trying to understand how it's written in Tibetan, because what some of my notes are from my other way is that this caught me before, was that the point was, what is enough? Because that's the biggest thing of this, is that the lesson is that you have enough, so you are content. And to your point, whatever happens, happens. And if you don't get food, you're content. If you get food, you're content. If you get a lot of food, you're not overly content, you're content. I don't, is that?
That's good.
Sorry, I understand, but I've been reading different versions and especially the versions of the Guide to the Bodhisattva, like different translation. And people have a lot of versions. I'm just trying to understand my teachers. That's all. I don't mean to sidestep.
I think content is a difficult word because it depends on context.
Right, right, that's right,
And if you're-
That's true.
right.
Absolutely.
If you take somebody who's contented in one position and you move them somewhere else,
So it's just,
they're not going to be contented anymore. So nothing, if you move somebody from somewhere where the temperature is good and you move them somewhere that's too hot or too cold, they won't have changed, but the context changes. So
So maybe Geshe-la can say if I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the intent of the authors here is to say that rather than craving more, what you have is enough. That's really the intent here. Regardless of which word in English you use, the idea is that you're not grasping it for more.
That's right.
That's the intent.
okay, that's all right.
지난해 초시에도 근데 이제는 교사 교주요 되는데 초시 다다 되기도 만세지 인지나리아 가서 만세선데 시카시 이제 그 지신부시 같은 내용도 봐. 이제 난다 대나한테도 강의를 지기 되고 제시하라 지라샤기 제도 이제 제대 관계 근데 지난다 생각이 저월 때 이제 하면은 지난 대부분보다 초신이야 그 남당 소리 지차되셨어 군소리 나게 인비네 야 생각이 저월이 하고 요태세 소리 제대셨어 근데 무슨 군소리 나는데 요래서 이제 또 막서 많지 근데 초시들 인기 돌이 컨텐츠 그거 봐 많지 되라 저다 가요 되게 소리지 근데 야 저쪽에 한 컨텐츠인데 그 백건 가게 되지도 근데 그런 게 있으면 그 이제 알아보면 그거들 필요와 얘기들 엔드로이드 케이스티나 봐 근데 게 인지게 맞아 실로 이야기가 굉장히 봐 이 라벤 게 나요 저거래서 그런 게 기본됐다지 이게 생각이 근데 게 뭐 시원해 겨울바 맞아 지게 뭐 이제 다시 뭐
그래. 또 배변지나 서로 지나는 안치가 지하고 민나라에서 뭐 전화 집어넣으시라.
조시에서 맞아 보면 그 근데 지고 그네 나도 조시 또 근데 나는 무슨 말도 조시에서 그런
아니 무슨 도저히 제가 해주라. 요즘 좋아요.
저거 중국 직세
소소 뭔가 대상적인 리버지.
나와라 예 봐요 이게
다른 사람은 리버. 근데 소니기 노니기 신이기 뭐 봐요. 특별히 소리 집으로 히어를 되셔야 돼. 소 배나 가는 소 강을 하바되게 리버지. 배나 소노로 인도를 가야. 근데 소노 배에서 뭐 하는데 진다들 소노 앞에 가라. 진다들 강 남아대. 소소대 대대적인 조심했지. 추야래도 어떤가 샤자기 말은 지지리고 발레고 나가지 않아. 대대 조심해서 있었다.
So in the Tibetan term, the chokshi, which means content, which is mostly the translations translated as a contented, is being less desire. In other words, less desire, and whatever that you have should be satisfied with that. In fact,
Okay.
satisfied with that, and we're just, for instance, in ancient time, like in India, the bhikshus go for alms. They go door to door for alms for their meals, one-day meal, and whatever the benefactor or the givers give them, they are satisfied with that. Not only that, just, oh, this person is giving me this, I'm okay with that, but I need a little bit, but I'm okay with that. This is not, even the thought should not have this kind of,
You don't
even
judge
whatever,
it.
yeah, just once they have given to you, and whatever that you receive from them, you have no desire for more.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have any desire for more.
Yeah,
That is what is meant by chokshe.
there's a problem with the English that satisfied and contented are not the same idea. Satisfied means that you've done enough.
Yeah.
Content means that is a sense of holding together, being whole, and you don't need anything else. But the two terms are not the same.
So now in the Tibetan term, there's chokshe, which means that you have a less desire. Whatever that you have, should satisfy oneself. And if you are not satisfied and you look for more, you still have a desire for more, which means not satisfied means you still have a desire for more. In the Tibetan term, so wait a minute, okay. So then, otherwise, for the bhikshus, if they go out and go for alms when they're begging, and when the benefactors or whoever's the givers give them a cup of rice, and if he's mentally not satisfied with that, then he may ask for a little more vegetable. And so there's some kind of wanting inside. And this should not be happening.
Yeah.
For the Tibetan term chokshe.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have. This is what is meant by chokshe.
It seems to me that this idea of done enough, that if you were going for alms, the attitude would be whatever you get, they've done enough and you've done enough.
Yeah.
You shouldn't want to go any further. And the problem with the English is that content has nothing to do with feeling. It doesn't have anything to do with feeling.
I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
Content is a state of being, not a, You can be really unhappy and be content.
So if you say that, okay, I have a 2 car and I'm contented, then doesn't this relate to the feelings?
Apparently not, according to the origin of the word. We have abused it to mean
Okay.
So if
but that's not the that's not the thing, but I think that you made it very clear that it's, this concept of done enough is much closer to the Tibetan term
Right.
than being contented. So that to me means something, that we go for alms. And you don't have to do any more, you don't have to ask for anything more, and they don't have to give anything more.
That's
So
right.
it's a very different kind of feeling than content, which is a maze of other meanings.
So if you ask for alms and they say no in a negative way, you're just, oh, okay.
You don't have to do anything.
No.
Sorry to bother you.
Yeah.
Not even
Yeah.
that, just, that's-
Yeah, that's clear.
Just
okay, thank you.
from that.
No, that's,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
So this, thank you.
야, 그래. 그는 내지 사람서. 다른 거 동부 들어가나. 누가 쓰면 초시가 되지 받으라. 거기가 동부더라. 저서 던지는 치가 있어라. 누가 쓰면 아니 초시가 되는 치가 있어라. 얘네 당고도 나중에 표시되면 몇중 초시 있어야 정도. 건대가 중중도 초시가 도서야 돼. 나도 지래요 봐. 누가 중중도 초시가니. 양건 명한 친구 친구도 처음 집에 집에도 그냥 하나인데 이 정도 와. 저래하고 지교도요. 누가 친구도 처음 집에 있는데 초시래야 다 통해서. 누가 중고다 초시반이 되면 초시만 다 통해서 용도 와. 어떻게 배워나야 돼. 얘네 다고 대시에 신주가 있다고 이제도 뭐 누가 참마다 그러다 누가 참마다 초시반이 그런 게 봐야나 제가 되는 거라. 누가 친구 주요가 있나요? 그냥 누가 요한나기 말하고 있나요? 그런 강사님 좋아했는데 다들 그래서 저희가 중요하다고 하고 아니 정도라. 그래서 누가 나기 많이 와 있네. 그런 강사님 좋아했네. 다 누가 나기 중요한데 다 내가 지금 누구를 단도에 제기 있네. 저희가 지야도 그런 거 해야 돼.
So they're also a little different here now. If someone wants a little bit more, whatever that who is expecting to have it. Let's take the example of having someone has a desire for having, getting more foods, in other words. But he was not able to get as he wished. But he's able to get some portion of the food. Like, well, this is not my intention, this is not my desire, but I get what I need, so I'm contented. That's what I would say, but it's not, it shows again that it's contented, but it shows a little bit dissatisfying or dissatisfaction here, because he's not getting as he wished.
But you don't take it personally.
But I mean, we're not talking about, I'm talking about in general.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you ask for an alm and somebody says, no, thank you, or no,
Well, it's completely different. If the bhikshus are in arm, then they are contented, they are satisfied.
right,
Not that. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about in general, when someone is having a desire for a more food, but if that individual gets a little bit of portion of food, not
yeah,
the food based on what he
right.
what he was
expecting
hoping
need.
to have, then he will be okay with that. Someone say, well, I was hoping for more, but I got this one, but this is fine with me. So this is contented but not satisfied.
Okay.
그래서
No.
이것도 나한테는 다시 유튜브 배워라. 대달로 배신들이 태어나 줬으면 가더라고. 다들 마음대로 randu name se pombe gewa kondo soan jurus te kaya geta soma se atre da lulo da randu soma da geta soma se atre randu name se pombe gewa kondo soan jurus.
The verse 15 is protecting good gain. according to the root words, where it says good gain, right? Um, there is, yeah, it's a good gain, which is what's a merit, in other words. It talks about merits. We have gone through the protecting body, protecting position. Now it is a protection of good gain or one's merits.
다 기자 송세의 rangi 사즈메 기자지로 사즈메 뭐 기자 사고 기자 마다나 기자 송하게 말 송하나 뭐 기자 거르바 기자 사즈메 기자데 송단 가는 송은 아니 컨트롤 좀 봐. 제거해서 또 컨트롤 좀 송하게 봐서 소소 사즈메 기자데 컨트롤 좀 봐. 아니 송해서
So the verse 15 where it says, protect what is good by being free from craving, and for result of evolution that benefits yourself. Says. Now, what is meant by protecting one's good gain or the merits? So when it comes to the merits, we have merits that is accumulated in the past, merits that one is actually accumulating, and you may accumulate merits in the future. So there are merits of 3 times, in other words. So this is what we need to be protected, particularly the merit that we have accumulated in the past. Because merit that we have accumulated in the past, how do we protect? What is meant by protecting is overcoming or addressing one's anger or hatred, because anger and hatred is the main opponent of overcoming or destroying our merits that we have accumulated.
네 기자 생데 아무한테 전화한테 샤고도 기자 세야데 자와 zambuji 샤베 바차 안유바 뭐바 대사베도 제니 아님 디부 대제 그냥 유한지 근데 뭐가처래야 게자스라 월다 론도 대바 가시 대와 제주스 내바스나요 다 기획진이라 샤고 이는 게자스한테 맞아서는지 지 라니는 대제 요약 맞아서는지 대마자 대 샹이데 자와 상고지 샤자와 상고데 샤베는 레 뉴방 바샤 되지 뭐지 좀
So this is also, the merits is also known as one's root virtue. It's also known as root virtue. And the root virtue is acquired by engaging in positive deeds. And by engaging in positive deeds, you're accumulating the virtue or the root virtue, which becomes merit. And that gives rise to its fruition in the future. So now, if one has accumulated a merits or implanted the virtue or the root virtue within one's continuum, and if one is unable to protect that by, generating anger and hatred and so forth, then regardless of how much root, the virtue or the merit that we may have accumulated will be have no power to give rise to its result, because it has been destroyed completely. So therefore, when speaking about protecting one's virtue or one's merit, is to not letting oneself becoming a victim of anger and hatred.
베나무도 메제다지 소소라 야보지 지요비 그래야 소소 세야 가나지네 슈마 메딩아 빼고 슈마 걸 배고 제고여서 지고 근데 좀 니바지도 와 다들 ተሰዘንዶ ጀሬዳ ገዛሰ ኒባች ረጃዛምቦ ከሻቤ ፓሻው ኒባት ለጀሬ ቸተሞቶ ባለም መጂ ጃዛምቦ ጀኔ ሶሶሲያን ጋዛጅ ጁመን ኩማር ቢያቦ ጁመን ኮልባ ያቦ ጀቡ ያሳናያ게 ተባሉ ኒኮኒ ከንጂ ዲዋች ኒባች ወራታ ተሰዘንዶ ጀይሳሮ ገዛተ
So the virtue, the root virtue or the merits is, when we talk about accumulating merits, it is a form of power or the form of potential that is implanted within one's continuum.
다들 계산되면서 컨트리뷰션만 여기 송고 거래. 다 컨트리뷰션 송단 가르는 노아지야. 노아들. 예 주야들. 베나마르도 라바리아 줄 라바도니아 문으로 주요이나 대 바람무쇼 이체도 능력하나니 주야들이로 어떤 거지는 하는 계산사 선bat에 컨트리뷰션 이체도 아니야.
The best way to protect one's virtue is virtue for the merits that one may have accumulated is to dedicate. Dedication is a very important part where this will prevent of destruction of our virtue and merits. So making sure that one dedicates whenever one engages in any kind of virtues or any kind of meritorious actions or the virtuous actions, one should not forget to dedicate one's merits towards state of complete enlightenment of oneself and that of other beings. It is just like one is depositing one's money to the bank. The same thing, for the safety, we're depositing our money, and we're not keeping a cash with us. Why we're doing that is for the safety, the purpose of safety, right? And getting some profits or the benefits, like depositing one's money in the bank. This is pretty similar. How do we the merits that has been dedicated. If you dedicate it, then it is depositing and it is in a safe place where it will not be destroyed.
라면 저장에 뭐에 그래. 라면 저장 산주 고만들에. 제가 산주 고만 토야 그 저쇼스 뭐야 돼. 대야 아니 고등 몸이 제대로 해야 되게 좀 그래. 제가 뭐가 지기가 많이 있다. 하는 거저가 지나다. 뭐가 지도 여인한테 더 먼저 아니 라면 주에 드다야 매서 동반이 돈이 동반이 고야들이 다바다 동반이 고야들 제때 동반이 보는데 근데 돈이 더 싫어하고 세세는 돈은 머리 그거는데 게자디 아니 시행이 너도 말해서.
So when we're doing the dedication, one's dedication must be based on understanding of emptiness. And this will become a very good dedication. Will never destroy one's merits that one has accumulated. So when just mere dedicating by saying that whatever the merits that I may have accumulated in the past, present and future, may this become a cause of complete enlightenment of myself and that of other sentient beings alone is not sufficient. But that very, dedication, the motivation must be based on understanding of emptiness. Will be very, very good.
싫어 제레데 신다 강기장 매버서 두고 말해서 그래. 너무도 이제 가는 데인데 싫어데 안에 가서 그래. 로양 답이 차대. 대매버서 저기 콜에 가서 돈도 싫어 매버서 저기 들리는 뭐게 로신다 개요 말해. 콜로 챙겨로지는 로양 답이 매버서 두고 대구로 로양 답이 있다. 텔레야 매버서 두고 아니 로친이로는 매버서 두고 말 텔레집이 대로에 노동을 말해서
So, because if one's marriage is dedicated to a state of enlightenment for the benefit of state of enlightenment of oneself and that of others, other sentient beings, on the basis of understanding of emptiness, then it will not this um, one's merit will be will not affected by any other afflictions, regardless of what kind of affliction that one may have generated. Because this emptiness, understanding emptiness, is what we call the perfect cognition, which cognize how things really are. And that is also known as the supreme cognition, perfect wisdom realizing emptiness. And this cannot be destroyed by any other thoughts and emotions, regardless of how powerful they may be. It is because of that, if one is able to dedicate one's merits on the basis of understanding of emptiness, then one's merits will be in a safe place, and it becomes a cause for one's enlightenment.
단지 계좌 손당에 해당을 받지래. 다들 그런데 증지마 라전남에서 방법 증정하잖아요. 다시 그렇게 되는 거 다들 쉬어야지.
So with this today we'll stop here with this. We have read the 2 lines of the first 15.
Okay, 16 is going to be fun.
So we will go through this later on. And if you have questions, you can ask some questions.
I've got a question. You use the word continuum. There must be a sense in which the human body is just one of many incarnations, going back to infinity and forward. And you said that you dedicate your merit on the basis of that continuum from all the way past incarnations to all the way to future lives. In that sense, this sense of I disappears. There is no sense of I in the Tibetan thoughts of what the human body actually is. So can Geshe explain what is the view of the human body in terms of that continuum? Is it a real thing? Is it imaginary? Is it...
You mean human body?
Yes. Is the human body that we think is so real actually an illusion or functions like an illusion, but in reality it's just a part of one bead on a mala?
Okay, got it. Yeah. Question that Karsore. Kanza ikitanda pumbu shiorba. Pumbu di koron ta ngui nesu yore yomara sero shiko. Kanza pumbu de. Pumbu de. Karsuna namjenda wanda kanza koron kanza muzi che koron pumbu de ne kanza muzi che korbas. Shisa ne 가자 디 풍부대 뭐 있는 수 여러 요 말에 야면은 가자 그런데 풍부대 소재 또 당장들이 되게 당문도 또 배진 뒤더서 그래서 다만도 근데 제가 규모다 보지 된대로 싫어해 야면은 또 규모에서 무슨 거기 삼레 소재 삼레 나도 간다 지 된지 차오 잠을 해서 간다 된대로 싫어했다 가자 그거 된지 싫어해 뭐 있는 수 여러 말이지
의인들을 부모여서 그래. 의인들 주단위여서 그래. 의인들 주단위여서. 여단데 근데 가지고 라문이어서 그래. 가지고 라문이면서 대단히 저번에 보니까 주단지 의인들이어서 그래.
Suddenly your body or the physical aggregate exists. It's not just imaginary, or it's not a, it exists in one's own imagination, but it exists in reality. But how does this exist? That's the question. How do you, uh, how do you think this existence of the body? When you ask this question, then the answer will be different, depends on how you understand yourself of your body.
It appears that the body is a kind of illusion because it's defined by its karma. And the karma is like a pot that holds the space. Our karma holds what we consider to be a body, but the body may not be any more than the space that's inside the pot. But in the Tibetan terms, that body is not just for now, it's a continuum from the past to the future. So our body right now is not the body that we think it is. It's a body which is moving in space and time from the past into the future. And that's why merit has to be maintained, because it's not just now, it's for all time. That's what it appears to me to be.
The Sugun's name is the Pungu Sharba. Sugun did it. The Quran sometimes we call it good. Leg one from there. Leg one to Jumbo Kaya, Kanji Chelia. Now go Sugun did it, says you go. Tata Shama did it so much. The main Rajin in the what is the one? The main Rajin in the this one. In a tapo Sugun up Kumara there's an end of Basia. Yes, Karsana. So Kanza Rani Munzinchiali, Mundilton was it your was. And then a Sugun Digi, Pungo Delia, Pungo Dea, and they green digi, Tapo Green Machel Janako, 2 days. They are Yamdu one to the Kesa Sasha ticket, around you, Kesa of ticket, to call the Yamdu Chitima war was. Sometimes China look sometimes the Sugon Chick. Take quick double some you may rise in their storage, and they study, and that's some connection makes nothing.
근데 제가 가지고 라문이면은 근데 매국을 세워놓고 그래서 그걸 뜻으로 또 가면 이제 제가 봉보라서 취득 가능이네요. 문 주진 지지는 문이들 요소 그래서 봐. 자자 요소 그래. 이는 간다서 요래 또 간다서는 나는 주마다 보여주는데 뭐 간다 문 주진 지를 요래 예치지를 간다 요단 간다. 라문이 요래 라문이 요 말은 라문이 요 말해서 안에 가르쳐나 꼭지 편수 뛰는 joba 대는 joba 대대지가 거기 대대지가 거기 샤지를 거기 저게 더 세가는 데레스니 조조세지라고 말했어. 근데 이제 주마다 그래. 주마스인데 그 주시하는 우리가 라바 참석하면 내가 말하지만 이거 말하나시 주만나시 이거에 따른 주지만나시 그래요. 저도 그 여단데 주만나시래. 그 도저히见到这个是对你，那就有点就啥么的，我们车上是一般性就车上面呢，把给人带来是做的，哥们儿，那没把一个当去当就我那个越当的让我的买是，那就是去当就让你就准备东北你就觉得是个多重要。
Although our physical body and continuity of body exist, it exists in reality. They do not exist inherently. That is what it means. And they do not exist intrinsically. It is therefore they are illusionless. But the body is not saying the body is illusion. We're not talking about the body itself because we are illusionless. Everything that exists, our body of this life, body of past, body of future, the continuity of our body, are all dependent upon its own causes and conditions. It's coming into being due to its causes and conditions. And it does not exist as we think that it really exists. In other words, the truly existence. That is what we have in our mind all the time. And we have this body and that body, or the body of past, body of future, which appears to us inherently existence, independently existence. But if you go through the critical analysis of that, this is, however, not so. It's in a different way. That's the way of existing the body is in a different way. So therefore, when we talk about a body, is illusion-like, it is a dream-like, it is a mirage-like. We have all kinds of terms for that. It's not saying they are dream, the body is dream. All the phenomena are dream. We're not saying all the phenomena are mirage, all the phenomena are illusion. They're illusion-like. Because they do not exist inherently.
마다 마제베 왕게 아니 최탐지 여바다 지 코와다 난디르스 마타마 요레스 다이제나 아니 산지 세테 요마레스 다이제 요나 안 바길라바 리에 요니 도도치 코거마 다이제나 네야 요마라 데데 다이제나 주나지 메스난데그레 다이제니 메세데 제가 주는 좀 동아리에서 했다. 마다 마지막으로 요새 우리 녀석은 부모도 요새를 해야 마다 마지막에 아니 요새 돼.
So therefore we have the true truths, the conventional truth, and ultimate truths. And if we think there's nothing exists, then we're actually losing both the truths, conventional truth and alternate truths. There's nothing that actually truly exists. I mean, there's nothing exists in reality. So we are losing the foundation itself. But there exists something that actually exists. The way it exists is a different. It's as a, for example, if one think that I, as an individual, whatever you can you name it as a David or Pinto or whatever who is, without going through a critical analysis, there's something that is there, the Pinto or the David or whoever is there. As if that you feel like that you're able to pinpoint Pinto. So he would say, I'm pinpointing Pinto, I'm pinpointing this person, I'm pinpointing that. But then I'm pinpointing that individual. But then that is a conventional level, it's a relative level. But then if you go through a critical analysis of how the David or the principle actually exists, when I talk about pinpointing that person, am I really pinpointing to the principle, or am I really pinpointing to that individual, David or who? Then it goes through critical analysis of that, and that just become unfindable. And there's no way that you can pinpoint to the person in reality, I mean, in ultimate level. So, there's a two ways to think of, one relative level and then ultimate level of thinking how things really exist.
So you could say you're as real as the relationship between you and your next incarnation or your past incarnation. There's a relationship there, always. That you're only real in terms of the relationship you have, not as an object.
You might want to translate that.
What was this? Just tell me once again. Can you?
That you're as real as the relationship between what you are now and your next incarnation. That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And your past incarnation.
Your memory or your memory or your belief in your reincarnation.
Well, that too.
No. Let me translate this to you. Like, can you repeat once again?
It's quite simple. You're saying that you're not inherently, there's no inherent reality. There's only a reality in terms of your relationship between what's around you, your friends, everything else. But it's the relationship between yourself as you are now and your future incarnation and your past incarnation, which creates a continuum, which is the not the conventional reality, but it's as real as anything else.
You mean this is not a conventional reality? You mean the past?
The non-conventional reality is the relationship between your past incarnation, your present and your future incarnation.
So you think that's not a conventional reality?
That's not a conventional reality because we usually don't think of the human body in terms of the continuum of incarnation.
그래 근데 내가서 대체 겨우치마 겨우치매 저와시오로 봐. 더 겨우감이 저의 균지 더디 균지 겨우 단데 단데 겨우의 수지 소대의 겨우시오로 봐. 어때 저와요로 봤을 때 저와. 되네 겨우치마를 두긴데 단데 겨우디 저와디 겨우치마를 두고 봤어. 디 저와디 가서래 또 코로나 상발이었지 되게 좀 그랬다 다 그걸 가서래 다 그걸 돈담배 치료를 세계도 생명도 돼 거기 군주를 치료지 레면도 봤을 때 디세트 화야지 띵서버지 상당도 돼 군주를 치료지 레면도 없어 그 컨디션 스터디 엔데를 예세고
现在路边这点几个了，那刚才是这一般这个有的多的了，俺们都那吃完之后的，这个那么喜欢的这些，这刚才这些呢，刚才这一般都是吃的看的这个看不了，这个他就那个刚才这一般才的嘛，刚才大一般的是看那个，这他真的多了，这个他们这个俺们都得吃完之后都那这个菌了的吧，可个菌。다 주인이 가르고 주인이 바시 주인으로 나 바지 되게 그걸 세고 있어요. 다만 되게 그래야 되는 가르는 신의 농생이 로랑이 되다. 신의 농생이 막 주인으로. 컨디제로 기지 주안도 그렇게 그런 주인으로 걸. 그냥 말로 제반이 다들 받을 누구 더해 말아. 더는 제 말아. 얘는 제일 다들 받는 것도 처음도. 그걸 기지 먹은 주안은 기고 찾아야 돼. 그 주인은 내도 어떤 아시 신의 들로서는 신의 들로서 미시비 틀에서 당아 그 미시비 틀에다 니래 제가 초이거든 미시비 틀에 제가 뒤 나도 요 미시비 틀에서 니요 다들 지원이 좋아만 주인 로딩 틀에다래 은 뒤 나도 요 미시비 틀에서 어때 가르는 신의 들로서 세니들 어때 말이야 힘들게 루드 생기지만 윤로도 뭐 내가 답은 다지는 거라고. 당이 되다 가다서 다서게 이렇게 루드 생기는 내가 답에 다지는 거. 그래서
So here now, according to Baba Viveka, the way he talks about how the person can be identified, from past life, the relationship, past life, present life, and the future life. The Baba Viveka has said it is the subtlemost consciousness. The subtlemost consciousness is the one that connects from past life, this life, to the future life.
Yeah.
And that too exists inherently existent, the Baba Viveka's standpoint. His viewpoint is that in inherent existence, it's not something that is non-inherent existence. Like his way of accepting how those consciousness exists is unlike the acceptance of non-inherent existence by the Madhyamaka Prasangika standpoint or the Nagarjuna. But Baba Viveka, that is what he said. But then here, when it comes to the continuity of the relationship past life to the present and how the present life can be related to the future, the continuity of those past life and future lives, it's not very clear in Sutra system. It's explained extensively in Tantric or the Vajrayana system, particularly in the High Yoga Tantra, what it talks about. There's explanation of the subtlemost wind in the mind, and then also identification of the explanation of indestructible drop. So when it comes to the indestructible drop, there are of two kinds. One is the indestructible drop that exists until we pass away from this life. There's another indestructible drop that can continue, this will continue to this life to another life and the future life. But this is a lot of explanation, the very extensive explanations, but pretty lucid too, but lucid explanation that we find, and particularly in the Tantra, the teachings on the Chakra Samara, eliminating the hidden meaning. What is the meaning? It's a 2 volumes, quite thick, and we have a very good explanation on that.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Can I have a quick happy question? So when Geshe-la was a young boy and he had Losar, if we ask him what's his favorite memory of monastery during Losar? What's his answer?
That Devi, 소소에 김나치가 지어 봤다. 저 대화에 저로 김나치 또 꾸준히 값을 거고. 그러니까 딱 요새 때 디흐저인 사면을 시다 손나 가르쳐 있습니다. 꾸준히 값다. 이종 가르쳐 있다.
지신대 조대로 예.
기부 좀 살아도 거기서 살아. 로사스 그러면서 로사에 준종 가르쳐 지 담바 가르쳐 있다. today you're social to
아무데 말하자는데 좋았네. 대변인 시국에 소리 가서 가지나 제대로 좋아노.
I didn't have much excitement in my entire life.
Not much excitement?
Yeah.
이내 주주가고 다 보고 주주가고 돌아서는데 뭐 먼저 그러다 줘봐라. 돌아서는 돌아서는 거였는데 대도 손이 되게 가해서 근데 모든 일이 손님과 가르쳤는데 제노.
Just only that what I remember when I was younger is to getting a new clothes on the New Year's. So that's what I remember. But not really, overly excited. There's no
But that would be the time when you get a new
Yeah, it's
robe.
just new robes and new clothing is what he says, so.
Okay, no, I was curious how in a monastery, how you would, if you would look, everybody here gathers, but in a monastery, it's, I just wonder. Thank you, just curious.
We should say that in comparison. You get to your next translation.
Yeah.
On page 23 and 24, and then continue with the auspicious wishes on page 28.
Chebara Jesu lo Sandra Baye, Tibe Nibo Rendo Saje Sho. Shoshe Medo Na, Jela Leje Mide Jima, Sanje Shindo Mande Bo Aye, Gogo Namda Yena Chebara Sho. Yada Lama Dan, Rame Chuje Bela Lo Jeje, Sada Lamje Yede Razone, Doje Jange Kovani Lo Sho. Pena Mera La Rande Ataya Wazera Deji, Nanga Jene Joju Jima, Rosante Bejume Sansunji, Rover Meseta Done Yuroji, Koye Shemazu, Edan Dewa Manu Juveni, Shere Zemane De Yasoyi, Yabe Sede Manu De Yuroji. Cheda Jivana, Kodo Zambo De Andi Tada Kunji Jesu Daroji, Geva De Dada Jira Tomo, Jesu Jibi Yawa Tamji, Noa Kama Jodo Kamade, Nagi Kiwe Sawa Digu, Zambo Jujira Tomo. Thank you.
Did I give you a jar of honey? Should I give you some honey?
No, thank you.
Keep you going.
Thank you.
No problem.